Welcome to a tutorial on how to benchmark your system using userbenchmark.com. Full disclaimer, this video is not sponsored in any form by userbenchmark. We simply find the simplicity of both running the benchmark and comparing the results online appealing. First, you want to download the small tool from userbenchmark.com. The link is also in the description of this video. It's Windows only. It's a .exe file which you can open right away. You can see here that the benchmark consists of 5 components: processor, graphics, drives, memory, and in case you have them attached, USB drives. Simply click run and let the program do its magic. Note, everything that could interfere with your system performance should be shut down, meaning your browser, Spotify, or a video recording software for recording a video like this. After the benchmark is finished, your default browser will open the result page. At the very top, you will see the gaming, desktop, and workstation performance. The percentages shown will determine the performance classification. Higher is obviously better. For gaming, the average FPS, the 1% and 0.1% lows are measured. The GPU will mainly influence this result. For desktop performance, the single and quad-core CPU performance is the most essential. And finally, for workstation, a strong multi-core CPU and GPU performance are factored in. Let's dive into the results. The first aspect that you will notice is if any category is red or if all of them are green. In my case, the PC status is red, meaning my overall performance is below the expectations for that particular build. For quantification purposes, percentiles are used. My PC is in the 36th percentile, meaning I'm only better performing than 36% of similar builds. However, you should take this with a grain of salt, since this is very likely a bit skewed by overclockers. They have the highest motivation to benchmark to see if their tweaking did any good. Hence, they will drive the overall expectations further away from the average stock system performance. My CPU, for instance, is performing below expectations. It's only in the 35th percentile. One reason for that is that I didn't bother to overclock it. I even undervolted my CPU for everyday use. By the way, if you have an Intel CPU and want the same performance with less heat, especially on laptops, check the video shown in the info cards. Next up is my GPU. It is in the 79th percentile. So for a GTX 1080, this is a pretty solid result, with only 20% of those cards being faster. It should be noted that I have it overclocked slightly. For a tutorial on overclocking your GPU, you should also check the info cards. For the other components, especially drives, the performance has a much bigger variance. If you have an SSD, however, this is barely the bottleneck for anything. The newer M.2 SSDs achieve even greater read and write speeds than normal SSDs. Also worth mentioning is the hard drive performance that is being measured. However, you can neglect that, since you will probably only use this for mass storage, in addition or as a substitute for a NAS. Finally, the RAM is being tested. From my experience, this also has a greater variance, and depending on your configuration, you might want to enable extreme memory profiles, or short XMP, in your BIOS, which is also suggested by userbenchmark. If you want to have a look at other typical builds based on your mainboard, you can scroll down until you reach the typical builds section and click on compare builds. What's interesting is the GPU and RAM that are being used for this particular mainboard. You can see which PC builds are the most common ones. And in case you are considering an upgrade, especially for an older system like this one, this might be worth a look. I'm already maxed out on this build, however, with my 4790K. If you scroll down to the bottom, you can see the user benchmarks for this motherboard with different builds and the respective results. This might also give you some inspiration in case you are considering an upgrade. So this is how you use userbenchmark.com to benchmark your system in a nutshell. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe to help the channel, and we will see you in the next one.